We're live, guys. Finally. Okay, there were a few technical difficulties, but we finally made it happen. So we're here, back at it, Sunday night, 8 p.m. Let's go. Okay, there's already one person here. Hi there. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I am having a great Sunday. It was beautiful here in Budapest. The sun was shining. I had a good time, so I hope you did too. Anyways, today's topic will be modern day masculinity. I will talk a little bit about dopamine detox, where I'm at currently, what my plans are with this kind of like experiment, personal experiment, and then a little bit more of updates and maybe some questions. If people have some questions. So I'm currently still in Budapest in Andrassy Utca. It's a very big street. Today the Pope came to Budapest. Actually, excuse me. It was a very big happening. There were tons of people in the streets. And actually, this morning, I wanted to go for a walk. And so I leave my house. I mean, my friend's house, not my house, my friend's house. And so I entered the street. And apparently, I couldn't be there. So they kind of like escorted me outside. And so I had to go through like the police control and stuff. And then I thought to myself, hey, but how am I going to get back in? Because I don't have any identification or proofs or whatever. And so I was like, damn, like imagine, like I asked a few people to make sure that, they recognized me and I could go back in. But imagine at some point, if they enforce you cannot leave your house and stuff, it's crazy to think about it. Like, people can actually force you to stay into your house. They can like enforce it. The government can actually do that. Like it's crazy to think about that. So I felt very grateful for the freedom that we enjoy nowadays. Like I read this story about this North Korean woman who escaped from North Korea, and the story she tells is just mind blowing. You can't imagine how bad the situation is over there. Anyways, starting off with a little side tangent here, but so modern day masculinity. I think that currently we're living in an era or in an age where a lot of men are kind of like struggling with what it means to be a man, myself included, to be honest. You know, there is so much confusion about, should you be vulnerable? Should you be emotional? Should you be careful with your opinions? Should you be strong? Should you not be strong? You know, there's a lot of confusion, I feel. And I never had strong male examples in my life. And so I went looking for male examples in other parts, like I went to look to I hopped online to find people who I found that embodied the traits that I was interested in embodying myself. I went to look for people, in my social group, people that I could look up to because, you know, my dad is a very admirable person and I really respect him. He is very, dedicated to the arts and he's very philosophical and he thinks a lot, but he's more a person who is in the background. So he never was like showing me what it means to be a leader, showing me to be how do I say assertive or to really state his opinions or defend his worldviews. He was more in the background, not really, aggressive with his opinions. He was more like understanding, and he would kind of not not speak his mind, and he would just, you know, keep his opinion for himself. And then when he got home, he would express it to us, but he did never actually express it to the person who it concerned, right? And so I always saw this when I grew up, and this kind of caused me to develop similar traits. But I ran into this problem where I developed, you know, people pleasing behavior. I was not secure enough in my own opinions. I wasn't assertive. I didn't know how to actually speak my mind, and that led me to experience a lot of confusion in my life. And I feel that this is something that a lot of men struggle with nowadays. We are not shown how to be strong, how to be centered, how to go for what we want. And we see all these fancy examples online and social media, and we are bombarded with other people being successful, but behind the scenes, these people usually are not that successful, or they lack certain level of integrity, or they're struggling in their personal relationships. And so these are not really good examples, right? So it's hard for us men nowadays to find good role models, to find people who actually embody the things that they believe in, who live the things they speak, who walk the walk and not just talk the walk. Because it's so easy to have an opinion on basically anything, right? Everybody has an opinion about everything. And backing it up with action is a whole other level. And usually the people who become successful are usually the people who do back up their intentions or the things they say they're going to do, right? That's what separates the people who actually, you know build something for themselves, or grow as a person, in comparison to the people who stay stuck. And I used to be the person who stays stuck, right? Because I was just, thinking and not really doing. And if you keep thinking, you will not move forward. At some point you have to stop thinking and then start doing, because otherwise, you just get stuck in the loops, and that is not helpful. It's really not helpful. I experienced this myself for many many years even, right? And so masculinity is, I believe, some kind of energetic charge, right? You have a feminine and a masculine polarity, and both kind of attract one another. If you have both two masculine poles, they will repel, okay? And men need to kind of bicker with each other a little bit, to fight, not necessarily like hit each other in the face, but bounce back and forth ideas. There need to be a little bit of tension, they need to be repelled a little bit, challenged, okay? And nowadays I feel like the masculine energy is being demonized, right? It's bad if you're aggressive, it's bad if you're outspoken, it's bad if you're like much, or you have a big ego or whatever. And of course the extremes are never good, right? But if you become too allowing, too soft, you don't really have strong boundaries, you don't really know what you want, then it becomes this wishy-washy kind of, smoothened out chaotic field. There is no structure anymore. It's too intuitive, too emotional, too flowing. And that's not a good thing, because then everybody loses the ground beneath their feet. And I think that it's important that there is some structure, that there is a foundation to lean upon, right? I really believe that as a masculine core, you want to be centered, you want to be grounded, and then you can have the feminine energy dancing around you. And they need this kind of stability in order for the feminine to feel safe, right? So as a man, I am working towards being this centeredness. And I think that my people pleasing behavior when I was younger is a lack of this centeredness. Okay, it's like, I want you to like me, I want to do this, so I please you. I change my opinions or my behaviors according to who I'm talking to and what group I'm in, etc., etc., because I want to be liked, because I'm not centered, I'm not at my core, I'm not in my center. And that caused me to be swayed in a lot of different directions. And I felt lost. I felt lost and scared and afraid and confused and angry also, because I wanted to be able to be myself and still get the recognition that I wanted, right? Everybody wants to feel loved, everybody wants to feel appreciated and recognized, myself included. And so I learned several behaviors for me to, feel as if I was being validated, but it was the wrong foundation. And eventually I learned that this is not the right way, because I felt empty. I felt unhappy. I felt confused about who I was. And so currently I'm spending a lot of time reading and learning about masculine traits, meditation, goal oriented, focus, discipline, strength, groundedness. These things, I believe, characterize the masculine. And of course, these terms, they're just terms, right? Everybody can call it what they want. It's just a mental model to be able to navigate reality, right? Mental models are just simplifications of reality for us to simplify how we view the world. The map is not the territory. That is very true. However, these terms and these concepts, they can help us guide our behaviors. They can help us guide how we want to conduct ourselves in the world. And that's why I think it's important to educate myself on these ideas, right? Stoicism, for example, is, I believe, a very masculine type of philosophy, and I like it. I like that, right? Marcus Aurelius was a very strong, masculine centered person. He thought about life. He was very stoic, very, grounded. He thought a lot about life, but he was also a doer. He backed up his thoughts with actions, right? He was able to, experiment with his own thoughts and really view his emotions as just that. And he didn't let them dictate his behaviors. Okay, and that is, I think, a very important skill to cultivate nowadays, especially in today's society. Everything is so instant, right? Instant gratification, social media, food, junk food, Netflix. There is a whole range of things that we can instantly consume for us to change our moods, to change our minds, to change how we feel, right? I feel a little bit bored, grab the phone and distract myself. Feel a little bit hungry, go to the fridge and eat something, right? There is there is no more, how do I say, like, challenge in a way, right? We don't get challenged anymore in today's society. It's too easy. We're becoming too comfortable, and I think that this causes men in particular to feel aimless. Okay, as men, we need challenge. We need an aim. We need to move towards something. We need to challenge ourselves. It's like if you put wild animals in a cage and you give them food every day and they get comfortable, they start to do weird things. They behave weirdly. Have you ever noticed, like, animals in the zoo, they are numb, they are tired, they don't behave as they would when they would be in the wild, exploring, being free, right? And we as men, we as humans in general, but mostly men, I think, we need to roam around. We need to explore. We need to challenge ourselves. It's in our DNA to want to do that. We're explorers. We are fighters, and nowadays this is not called forth enough, I think. So that's why I try to expose myself to new environments. I go travel. I try new hobbies. I go rock climbing, and I try jujitsu, and I try drumming, and I try lots of different things to see what resonates with me, to see what is kind of like a challenge, and how I can improve myself, right? Learning, very important. You want to improve your knowledge. You want to continue. You want to be a student of life, right? And I really like to read a lot of books, to keep my mind sharp. All right, but for example, my best friend, he loves to play chess, and I used to play chess a lot. And so it's something that, it challenges your mind, it challenges your thinking. You need to think ahead. You need to calculate your moves and your opponent's moves, and this, it's a complex game, right? And it requires mental alertness. It requires you to be present, right? Because if you're distracted, you can't play chess. If you're distracted, and you need to be focused, you need to think about your moves. And I think in life it's similar. You want to think a little bit ahead. You want to challenge yourself. You want to find good opponents that, that challenge your current abilities. Because if you pick someone that is way beyond, like way out of your league, of course you can learn from them very important lessons. But that's really like a mentor type of relationship, right? But you also want to surround yourself with peers that challenge yourself, like, just a little bit outside your comfort zone, so you can make small increments. And that's where, the zone where you just challenge yourself, but where it's not too much, but where it's also not too little. That's where the most growth occurs, because otherwise you feel overwhelmed, or you feel bored and you don't feel challenged. And especially as men, I think it's really important to find this bandwidth where we feel challenged, but it's not too much, but where we're also not bored, because that's where we function optimally. That's where we grow the most. And I think that figuring out this band for yourself can take a lot of time. And for myself, I'm currently still figuring out where this is situated, where this is located, how I can continuously challenge myself, but also not overdo myself, right? Because, for example, today I felt so tired. Like I was sleeping in the afternoon for like a few hours. I was just exhausted, right? And that's because I've been pushing myself really hard to work, to work out, to be social, to do all kinds of stuff. And it's also important to be aware of when you need, excuse me, when you need to recover a little bit. Recovery is really important. So hi man, Chevy bro, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the live stream. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me something. It's really hot here somehow, but I closed the windows because otherwise there's probably a lot of noise that's not too pleasant to listen to. So yeah, I was talking about my current, how would I say, trajectory towards figuring out where I can challenge myself enough so I stay engaged with life, and where I overdo it and I kind of like burn out, right? So you if you if you don't stimulate yourself enough, at least that's what I found from my personal experience, then I end up feeling stuck. I feel hopeless, I feel confused, I feel unmotivated, and I know that I have a larger potential. I have much more to give, to offer to the world, but it's simply like too overwhelming, too much. I'm afraid, I feel stuck, I feel confused, and that's not good, right? So that's why I want to find a sweet spot where I can perform at my best, but where I can keep improving myself, where I can keep growing, keep learning. And that way, by growing myself, the people that are related to me, I can help elevate them and they can help elevate me, right? Rising tides lift all ships. That's a beautiful idea, a beautiful quote that I like to live by, because I think it's really true. If you grow, then the people with you usually also grow. There is also, of course, there is a counter idea that is also not to be overlooked. It's like the crab and the crabs in the bucket kind of analogy or whatever. So if one crab is trying to climb out, all the other crabs are trying to like pull it back down because they don't want this crab to escape. Okay, this can also be the case sometimes when you're the only one in your kind of like friends group who is trying to improve themselves, like reading books and improving their mindsets and working hard towards something. And the people in your social circle, they're like, what are you doing? You're like, you changed, like what happened, right? And they feel maybe insecure about their own abilities, and they see you kind of like progress towards the things that you want to achieve, and that is causing them to feel insecure, and they don't want you to outgrow them. But sometimes it happens on the subconscious level, right? And that can be very difficult, because if you take your own goals and achievement seriously, then sometimes you will have to say goodbye to the people who no longer support you in your journey, right? I believe, since I've traveled like for the past 5 years and to a lot of places, different countries, different continents. I've been all over the world. And so you meet people during your travels and then you part ways again. And some of these people, they kind of like stuck along, and you even though you go to another place, you kind of like stay in touch, and then maybe you go to somewhere else and they join you there. And so these friendships are formed, but usually the people who don't resonate with you anymore, they part ways, right? It's the same way how I kind of consume YouTube, for example. Sometimes I feel like I find a YouTube channel and they're really at the the time the timing is right. They are dealing with the things that I'm dealing with, so I resonate a lot with what they are talking about. So I follow them along, and I'm growing and they're growing and we grow together. And at some point I go another route, and then their content is no longer really relevant for me. So then I drop the channel and I go to another channel who might be relevant for me at that time, and then I grow with them again, right? So I really think that YouTube is a great resource to expose yourself to new ideas. However, you need to be careful with not taking everything that people are talking about too seriously, especially like what I'm saying, what I'm talking about. Don't take it too seriously. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a professional, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm still learning. Everybody's learning, everybody's trying to figure it out. And so I just want to share my perspectives, the things that I go through, the experiences that I have. And you can pick the ideas that are relevant to your life, right? My life is different than yours, but it's also very similar in a way, right? Because we all go through hardships, we all go through phases of emotional numbness, or sadness, or we feel hopeless. There is so many different feelings that are very that are universal. Everybody deals with these, and that's why you can relate to other people's struggles, and I hope that you can relate to my struggles as well. And I'm really aiming to, how would I say, share even more about how I am dealing with these things or what I'm going through, so that you can relate even more, right? Because I feel like in a few of my videos, I am mostly just focusing on information that I acquired and that I share, but I also think it's very valuable to hear me talk about, okay, how do I feel and what am I going through and how am I dealing with that? So one of the videos that I will upload probably sometime next week is, I'm feeling unhappy with myself. This is what I'm doing. I want to share how I deal with feeling unhappy with myself and what I do to battle that. I think that it can be a very valuable video for a lot of you guys, because I think that many people actually are unhappy with themselves sometimes. And if it's something that I struggle with, then I usually assume that there's other people struggling with the same things, right? So that is something that I want to spend a little bit more time on exploring with all of you, and hopefully provide you with some mm, interesting concepts and interesting ideas, right? So honestly, I find content of YouTube like yours or Mouth of the Ape way better than professional advice. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that, and I share that opinion. To be honest, professionals on YouTube, I usually don't check their content that much. It's more, people like me and you who go through stuff that talk about things that they went through, and that's more relatable, right? Because I am just a person just like you. I am just trying to figure things out, and I learn along the way. And I'm really, documenting this, and that's where I think the value comes from, because you can see the transformation that someone goes through, right? If you look back, like my first few videos from the beginning, I made a huge transformation already. That's really interesting. Like for myself personally, it's also really cool to see that, right? To just look back and then be like, wow, man, you've grown so much over these past months already. And that's really cool to see. And I hope maybe later, even, when I get kids or whatever, I'm like, hey, check out my YouTube channel. There is everything you need to know. For every age they go through, they can like find a few videos that I recorded that can hopefully help them with what they're going through. So that's why I think it's so cool to do something daily around this, right? I'm really like focusing on journaling a lot nowadays, writing a lot on my computer, and it's really helping me to flesh out my thoughts. And I like to have a log of ideas, right, insights, because, excuse me, because sometimes an idea strikes you, but if you don't capture it, it goes away because you forget about it, you get distracted. But if you jot it down in your journal very fast, you can capture the essence of that idea, and it stays with you, and you can reread it and you can revisit it at a later time. And then you can be like, oh man, that was actually really insightful, and let me like revisit that. And then you can recall the insight you had, and you can reinforce that in your own mind. And I think that's very, very powerful. So that's why I'm a huge fan of journaling. I think it's a great way to improve your life, to increase your self-awareness, to flesh out things that are, that you're struggling with, things that are the patterns, recognize certain patterns. And that's invaluable information, because you want to find your blind spots, your weaknesses, and then work on eliminating those. And I talk about betting on your strengths. And I do believe that it's really important to bet on your strengths as a person. You want to develop your strengths as much as possible and actually do what you're good at, because that's also, in most cases, what you like doing. But there's also a few essential weaknesses that I think require a lot of attention in order for you to be an all-rounded person. You want to, be able to fix the things that require fixing. Okay, certain things, they don't require fixing necessarily, because they're just too the gains that you make from fixing them is too marginal. But some things really require fixing, and a lot of work, and it's worth it to try to fix them. Okay, so yes, it's beautiful to watch how you grow over time. I watched your first video several times. I'm so very happy for you. You give me a lot of hope, man. That's honestly one of the most beautiful things you can tell me, man. Like, I feel very grateful that you say this, because of course sometimes I feel like, huh, am I actually growing? Am I actually, making improvements? I don't know. I feel confused. uh, it's all so challenging sometimes, right? But that makes it also very very beautiful, I think, because it creates opportunity for you to outgrow your smaller self, your petty self. And that is really something that I've been trying to do continuously, right? Because we all have this small petty self that wants stuff and that feels sorry for yourself. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired today and I don't want to do it, blah blah blah. But then you have the higher self, the prefrontal cortex, the knowing part of your brain that can focus on things, that can project into the future, that can actually, conduct a path, create a path for yourself, and think into the future and become, it can guide you towards becoming the person you want to become. It's a recurring topic here on my channel. I love to talk about this. What type of person do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered when you're gonna die, right? I think it's an important concept, memento mori. It's a stoic concept to contemplate your death, okay? Because I think that you only have one life. I don't know how I feel about afterlife and all these things. I like to believe that there's only one life and you want to make most of it, right? And there's this great book, the five most known regrets of the dying, or something, the five biggest regrets of the dying. And this book talks about how the people are about to die and they share their biggest regrets, and most of them are just like, I wish I spent more time with the people I love. I wish I did the things that I was scared to do. I wish I overcame more of my fears instead of being afraid, right, of staying small. And that is a very inspiring book to read, so I highly recommend you check it out, the five biggest regrets of the dying. It's an eye-opening book, and it really shows you that, you know if you spend time on the meaningful things in life, and you work towards overcoming your fears and setting aside your need for instant gratification, and the petty things. If you can overcome those, that is what's going to make you feel like you lived a meaningful life. And I think that's one of the things that I would like to achieve for myself, that I'm about to die and I look back, I'm like, man, you tried, you gave it your best, right? You really gave it your best, and you tried, and you gave your love, and you were there for other people, and you built a beautiful family, and you created a community, and you supported people. That is what I want to be remembered for. That is what I want to do in my life, right? And I think that by reinforcing that idea, by really thinking about this, and by living it every single day, that is how I will not regret. I will have no regrets about this. And that's what I want for myself, and I hope that by living that life I can also inspire you to go do that, to go live that life, so you don't have these regrets, so you don't have to have these regrets. Because I think that's a sad thing, if you're on your deathbed and you regret not trying your, I don't know, whatever project was on your mind, because you were afraid, or you thought you would never make it. At least try it, right? Every single day I write in my journal, today I agree to do my best, right? One of the favorite books that I really love to reread a few times a year even is called The Four Agreements. And one of the four agreements is always do your best, right? And I write down in my journal, today I agree to do my best. And then I show up. And of course, sometimes you fail. Of course, sometimes you fall off track. That's fine. Okay. Pick yourself back up, go for it again, go at it again. Don't dwell on making mistakes. Don't hit yourself. I used to do this all the time. I make a mistake. Oh, you piece of shit. You're so bad. That doesn't do anything, right? You want to pick yourself back up again as fast as possible and just go forward again. It's fine to make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Even the most professional people that make mistakes. They feel insecure about things, right? That you maybe don't even know about, but they do. I bet, I'm sure they do. I know that they do, right? So it's about how you respond to these things and how you recover, how you bounce back fast, as fast as you can. And that's what I like to do. Okay, friend is calling me. Beautiful words, man. Consider putting all of this and your worldviews in a book. That will be a great legacy. I really want to do this, man. I'm actually writing a book. I have a few ideas, but I keep my notes. I'm really writing a lot, and I want to write a book, and I will write a book, I'm sure. It's always been something that I wanted to do. My dad actually published a few books himself, so it's not too much of a problem for me to like write something and then publish it, maybe with his publishing kind of thingy, whatever. But I am going to write a book. I know it, and I will do it. And when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So I'm excited about that. But thank you for telling me. I definitely will. So sorry I'm late. I will rewatch it. Angela, thank you so much for being here. I'm very happy that you're here. It's so nice that you join here for the live stream. It always makes me happy to see you guys come back and join me for some, some friendly conversation about the things that I like to talk about. So yeah, another topic. So I just talked a lot about, growing as a person and feeling stuck in life and how you can bounce back and all that. You can rewatch it later, absolutely. And another thing that is on my mind currently is the dopamine detox, right? And it's just a fancy way to describe you cutting out most of your distractions. Okay, social media, junk food, TV, YouTube, whatever it may be that is your vice. You know, whatever you feel like you're addicted to or too much attached to, cut it out for like a week and see what it does. And I cut out social media, I cut out most of the junk food. Sometimes I go out eating with my friends and then I have a little bit of unhealthy food, but that's okay because it's in a social setting. And I think that being too extreme with things can also be not so good. So it depends. Like I experimented with extremes, and now I'm a little bit more moderate. Finding the middle way is, I think, a big theme in my life and something that I learned to appreciate. So maybe at some point I will go all in when I kind of like live alone, but right now I live with many people and I want to, enjoy their company. And I've spent a lot of time going really extreme, and that also made me feel super lonely, right? If you just say no to everything, you don't go out eating, you don't have a good time with your friends, then you're just isolating yourself. And for what, right? For what? To just, cut out everything in an extreme manner. I don't know if that's beneficial. For myself, it wasn't really. So I currently just cut out all social media. I don't watch TV. I almost don't eat no junk food, here and there a little bit. I work out regularly, I write, I meditate, I do all these things. And by removing a lot of the instant gratification behaviors, you create a lot of space for other stuff that is so much more meaningful. You go for walks, you spend time with friends, you work on projects that you actually want to work on, but that you usually procrastinate on because you're just too lazy or you're too easily stimulated. Checking your phone and social media, you underestimate how much productivity it removes from your day. You lose focus so fast, right? It takes 15 minutes or so for your brain to kick into top gears, right? If you start working 5 minutes in, you're not really fully focused. It's only after like 15 minutes that you truly are starting to get things done. But most people, they just like hop into work and then 5 minutes later they check their phone, social media, boom, they go back to work, back the phone, back to work. You don't get anything done that way. And if you cut it out, if you just uninstall it from your phone, you can't check it, right? You just can't do it. And that is drastically improving my productivity. And also just my anxiety levels dropped significantly after doing this. I'm actually going to upload a video about this tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. I will talk about what I learned from deleting social media. I think is going to be a how would I say, what is it, like a knaller? We say knaller. I don't know how to say knaller in English. It's going to be a bomb video. I'm very excited about it. I put a lot of time and effort into editing it, and I think you will like it. I like to record it, and I think it's going to add a lot of value to you guys. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. That's absolutely right. Not too much pressure. You're a very good way for your life. Thank you so much, Angela. I'm just trying my best, and I'm trying to grow and improve myself as much as I can. So yeah, that is kind of it, guys. I think I will wrap it up here. I want to thank you all for being here with me. It's been like 34 minutes already. That's a long time. I felt in a good mood and a good vibe, so I had a great time. You can absolutely rewatch everything I talked about here in the live stream. I do these every week, Sunday 8 p.m. CEST. Very soon I will probably be somewhere else in the world, and then the time will change a little bit because my time zone will change. But I will definitely update you guys on that. What else? What I want to say? Yeah, I'm thinking of recording some kind of meditation course. I figured out that you can upload courses on Skillshare, and I think I'm thinking about creating a small course around meditation, mindfulness. So I have something to offer you if you're interested in meditation. It's going to be a free course. You can just check it out there. But I think it's a great platform to, to learn some new skill. And I think a lot of people actually want to get into meditation, but they don't really know how, or they don't really know how it works, or they think they're not good at it. So I think I can definitely offer some interesting insights and the ways I like to meditate. So hopefully it can be useful for you. So I am working on that. So you can expect something from me around this topic in the future. So stay tuned. We can always learn from one another. Great work, Wolf. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. All the best and keep going. Thank you so much, guys, for all the love and the kind support. I feel very good about that. And I think it's great to just, share our energies and grow together. That's what I want, support one another. We're all one big family, big love. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm looking forward to uploading my video tomorrow. I hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm sure you will. And that's it for today. Thank you all for being here with me. I very much appreciate you taking the time to hear me speak and interact with me through the chat. It was a great evening, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your Sunday night, or wherever you are in the world. Good day, good night. I'm just sending you lots of good vibes and energy, and I hope to see you here next week, or if not, I see you tomorrow for another video here on the channel. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. That was fun, eh? That was very fun.